Welcome back, everybody, to the deep dive. Today we're going to do a deep dive into what might be a really interesting year for peer-to-peer network. That's PTOP on the stock exchange, for those of you following along at home. So their CEO, he just released his annual letter to shareholders, and we're going to break it down, see if we can, kind of look into the future and see what's coming down the pike. And the letter mentions some pretty big things, like a new website. They're even launching their own cryptocurrency. They're calling it MobiCoin,
Yeah.
and a platform upgrade to MobiCard 2.0. So,
Oh,
you know what I'm thinking? Could this affect the stock price?
well, that's a great question. And I think you're right to be thinking about the potential impact. Yeah, a CEO's annual letter, it's more than just a financial report.
Yeah.
It's a statement of their vision for the future of the company.
Yeah.
So you can kind of read between the lines and try to understand, like, what are their strategies, and what's their potential for growth. And that kind of information, that's really valuable for anybody who's, thinking about investment opportunities.
Okay, so let's dive into the details. First up, PTOP. They're launching a brand new website next week. They're saying it's going to be a lot easier to navigate. It'll have some updated resources for shareholders, customers, and partners. It's at www.ptopnetwork.com if you want to check it out. But you know what? I'm really pleased to see this focus on transparency. It seems like they're really making an effort to communicate better with their stakeholders. I think that's always a good sign.
Yeah, absolutely. Transparency builds trust, and trust is essential if you want to attract investors and keep them around. It shows that they're willing to be open about how they do things, what challenges they're facing, and what their goals are. And that type of open communication, that can really boost shareholder confidence.
Okay, so new website, check. Next, just a week after the website launch, MobiCard is finishing up its beta testing. And the feedback has been really positive from what we're hearing. Users are saying great things about it, which I think is a strong signal for a successful official launch.
Yeah, for sure. Beta testing is so important for any new product. It lets a select group of users try out the platform in a real-world setting. That helps the company gather feedback. They can work out any bugs and make adjustments, based on how people are actually using it. The fact that MobiCard is getting such positive feedback during this stage, it's a really good sign. It shows that it's resonating with its target audience. That bodes really well for the official launch. Might be something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, okay, and now for the big reveal. They're launching their own cryptocurrency called MobiCoin. It's designed to encourage digital business card sharing within the MobiCard ecosystem. So imagine this. You share your MobiCard with someone, you earn some MobiCoin, and more you share, the more you earn. It's a really clever way, I think, to increase engagement and, create a buzz around the platform.
Yeah, it's interesting how they're using blockchain technology in their strategy. We're seeing that more and more across different industries. Cryptocurrencies are becoming more popular as a way to make transactions easier, reward users, even create entirely new economies within platforms. So by creating their own economy with MobiCoin Run, they're not only encouraging user engagement, they're also putting themselves in a position to be a leader in this new trend. I think this could really attract tech-savvy investors and users who are excited about the future of decentralized systems.
Okay, so everybody mark your calendars. June 1st, 2025. That's the official launch date for MobiCard 2.0. They're introducing a ton of new features, like real-time analytics. You can see who's interacting with your card, more ways to share your card, and of course, full integration with a MobiCoin. They're also going to be introducing advertising opportunities to generate some revenue, and they're making it possible for really big companies to onboard huge numbers of employees all at once. Like they can automatically generate and email digital business cards to every single employee. This is a big step forward, I think, in terms of scalability and functionality.
Yeah, MobiCard 2.0 is looking like it's going to be a major player in the digital business card market. With these new features, they're combining cutting-edge technology with easy-to-use functionality and a clear path to generating revenue. That could be a really powerful combination. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up with a big chunk of the market share. It'll be interesting to see how the existing companies react to this.
Okay, but wait, there's one more piece to this. Strategic partnerships. They're being a little bit secretive about who they're working with, but they did say that they're actively trying to make deals to help them grow faster and expand their market. They're planning to announce the details after the MobiCard 2.0 launch. I don't know about you, but I'm dying to know who they've teamed up with.
Well, strategic partnerships, they can really make a huge difference for a company. These collaborations can open up new markets. They can provide access to new resources and expertise, creating those win-win situations where everybody benefits. Investors, they always pay close attention to these partnerships because they can indicate major growth potential and give you clues about the company's long-term plans. We'll definitely be taking a closer look at these partnerships once they announce them.
Okay, so let's just take a minute to recap everything. PTOP is rolling out a brand new website to increase transparency. They're wrapping up beta testing for MobiCard, and they're launching their very own cryptocurrency, MobiCoin. And oh yeah, MobiCard 2.0 is coming out in June with all these impressive features, ready to scale. And on top of all that, they've got some major strategic partnerships in the works. It's clear that PTOP is making some bold moves this year. I think it's safe to say this is a company to watch.
What I find really interesting is how they're connecting all these different pieces. They're creating a whole ecosystem within the MobiCard platform. They're not just launching individual features, they're building a network, a community, a whole new approach to digital networking. And that's what makes this story so interesting. It raises all sorts of questions about the future of how we connect with each other, how we do business, and even how we think about value in the digital world.
So the big question is, could PTOP actually revolutionize digital networking? We'll be diving deeper into that question as we continue our discussion, so stay tuned. We're just talking about whether PTOP could really, change the whole digital networking game. I'm kind of leaning towards, yeah, they could. But what do you think? What makes them stand out from the crowd in such a competitive, industry?
Yeah, I think you're onto something there. What's really interesting is how they're combining a platform that's easy to use with a reward system. That's based on cryptocurrency. And then you add in those strategic partnerships. It's like they're not just making a product. They're building a whole world around it, an ecosystem. And that's been a winning strategy for other tech companies that have grown really fast. Like think about Apple or Google. They've made their own ecosystems. With devices and apps and services that all connect together, it seems like PTOP is taking a page from their playbook, creating this network where all the different pieces work together and make each other stronger.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And from a business standpoint, it's smart. They're setting themselves up with multiple ways to make money. From subscriptions and advertising to fees from those big companies onboarding all their employees. But they're also giving users something valuable in return. MobiCoin, it seems like everyone wins.
Exactly. It's not just about profits. It's about creating value for everyone involved. And that's a really important point. They're focused on making money for shareholders and making things good for users. That's a really good sign. It suggests that they're thinking long term, that they're trying to build a sustainable business that benefits everyone. But, any business model that uses cryptocurrency has to deal with the ups and downs of the market. So how is PTOP going to make sure that MobiCoin stays stable enough to be a good reward? And a way to keep people engaged in the MobiCard world, I'm sure that's a question a lot of potential investors are asking.
Yeah, that's a great question. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on that as MobiCoin rolls out. But let's step back for a second and think about the human side of this. How could MobiCard change the way we connect with each other on a personal level? Like those awkward networking events where everyone's fumbling around with paper business cards trying to remember who's who. MobiCard could make networking so much smoother and more efficient.
I think you've hit on something really important there. This move towards digital networking. It has big implications for both individuals and businesses. Imagine going to a conference and just tapping your phone to exchange digital business cards. You instantly have their contact info, their social media profiles, even links to their website or portfolio. It's not just about sharing contact details anymore. It's about making a deeper, more immediate connection. But you're right, it does raise some questions. Will this make our interactions more transactional? Will it blur the lines between our work lives and personal lives even more? It's a really interesting social experiment that we're all part of. As we embrace these new technologies,
Yeah, it makes you wonder where those lines will be drawn. And what about the companies that are already out there? The ones that have built their businesses on traditional paper business cards. What happens to them? Will they adapt or will they get left behind?
that's a really good point. Disruption, it often shakes things up. Some companies will adapt, maybe even partner with platforms like MobiCard to integrate their services. Others might struggle to keep up with how fast technology is changing. We've seen it happen in other industries. And I don't think the digital business card market will be any different.
I wonder if those strategic partnerships PTOP is working on might include some of those companies. Maybe we'll see some surprising collaborations that really change the game. But going back to the CEO's letter, he really emphasized transparency and communication. He said the new website will be a key tool for keeping shareholders informed and engaged. That seems to be a recurring theme for PTOP, this commitment to open dialogue.
Yeah, and that's something I find really encouraging. Transparency is so important for building trust. especially in the world of finance and technology where things can be kind of secretive. It shows investors and users that they're willing to be open about how they operate, what challenges they're facing, and what their goals are. This level of transparency could be a major advantage for them in the long run.
So if PTOP is playing chess, it seems like transparency is one of their big moves. But let's not forget about those secret strategic partnerships. I'm still trying to figure out who they might be working with. It's like a puzzle. Do you have any guesses?
Well, it's all just speculation right now, but let's just throw some ideas out there. What if they partnered with a big social media platform and integrated MobiCard right into user profiles? Or maybe they could team up with a top CRM company and allow for seamless data syncing between platforms. Maybe even a partnership with a giant payment processing company, making MobiCoin a real option for everyday transactions. There's so many possibilities, and each partnership could open up exciting new opportunities for growth and innovation.
I like how you're thinking. Those are some really interesting possibilities. Imagine the reach and impact they could have if they partnered with a company like LinkedIn or Salesforce. We'd be talking about a whole new level of integration and features. It could completely change how businesses manage their contacts, track their networking, even generate leads.
It's exciting to think about the ripple effects these partnerships could have.
Mm-hmm.
They could help PTOP expand into new markets,
Mm-hmm.
speed up the adoption of MobiCard and MobiCoin, even influence the development of industry standards. It reminds us that innovation often happens when different fields and ideas come together. By combining their expertise with that of other leading companies, PTOP could create something truly groundbreaking.
This whole conversation is making me realize just how much potential this company has. It's not just about digital business cards anymore. It's about reimagining how we connect and do business. In a world that's constantly changing and becoming more digital,
And that's what makes this deep dive so fascinating. We're not just looking at a company's plans. We're thinking about the potential changes they could bring to society. It's a reminder that technology is never neutral. It shapes the world around us, and the world shapes technology. And in PTOP's case, it seems like they're actively trying to shape the world in a way that benefits everyone.
it's a bold vision, and it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. But one thing's for sure, this story is still being written, and we've got front row seats to watch it unfold.
And that's a privilege. In a world where there's so much information, it's more important than ever to find reliable sources. Think critically about what we read and hear, and connect the dots to form our own informed opinions.
Well said. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into PTOP. We're about to head into our final segment, where we'll explore some of the potential implications of PTOP's plans for the future of digital networking. Stick around. Okay, so we're back, ready to wrap up our deep dive into PTOP. We've talked about a lot, from their new website to their cryptocurrency, MobiCoin. But I want to kind of shift gears now and think about the bigger picture. Like, what are the potential implications of all of this? Could PTOP's plans really change how we think about digital networking?
I think it's definitely possible. What's so interesting is that PTOP isn't just working within the existing digital landscape, they're trying to redefine it. Imagine a world where everyone's using digital business cards, where there's a dedicated cryptocurrency for networking and building connections, and where strategic partnerships create this whole web of platforms and services. It's a bold vision, and if they pull it off, it could have ripple effects way beyond just business cards.
Okay, so let's break that down a little. We've all experienced how limited paper business cards are. They get lost, they pile up, they get outdated. MobiCard offers a much more efficient and dynamic alternative. But it's not just about convenience, right?
Right. With features like real-time analytics, advanced sharing options, and MobiCoin integration, MobiCard 2.0 is turning a static piece of information into a powerful networking tool. Imagine being able to track who's seen your card, when they saw it, and for how long. Imagine getting MobiCoin every time you share your card or connect with someone new in the MobiCard world. It creates a whole new level of engagement and interaction, something you just can't do with traditional paper cards.
And don't forget about those features for big companies. The fact that huge companies can onboard hundreds of thousands, even millions of employees at once, that's a game changer. That's a massive potential user base for both MobiCard and MobiCoin, which could create a really powerful network effect, making the platform even more valuable as more people join and use it.
Exactly. More users make the platform more valuable and useful for everyone. But with that kind of growth comes responsibility. As MobiCard and MobiCoin become more popular, it's really important for PTOP to prioritize data privacy and security. How are they going to make sure user data is protected? What are they doing to prevent people from misusing MobiCoin or manipulating the MobiCard system? These are questions that they'll need to answer openly and effectively if they want to build trust and make sure they're successful in the long run.
You bring up a really important point. It's easy to get excited about the technology, but we can't forget about the ethical side of things. And like you said earlier, there's also the possibility of economic disruption. If MobiCoin really takes off, it could have a big impact on traditional advertising,
Mhm.
marketing strategies, even how businesses see and measure the value of networking and engagement.
Yeah, exactly. We might be seeing the beginning of a whole new digital economy within MobiCard, where MobiCoin becomes a real currency for transactions and interactions. This could be really empowering for both individuals and businesses, giving them new ways to connect, work together, and exchange value. But it also brings up questions about regulation, stability, and the potential for unintended consequences.
It's a lot to think about. As we finish up our deep dive into PTOP, I think one thing's for sure. This company is at the forefront of a huge technological and social shift. Whether they succeed or fail could have ripple effects way beyond their own goals, potentially changing the course of blockchain technology, the evolution of digital networking, even how we interact with each other online.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
And to everyone listening, we'll leave you with this. Imagine a future where our digital interactions are seamlessly woven into our everyday lives, where networking is rewarded,
Hmm.
and where value is created and exchanged in brand new ways. PDOP's vision gives us a peek into that future, and whether they succeed or not, it'll be fascinating to see how it all plays out.
So stay tuned as this story unfolds. We'll definitely be keeping a close eye on PTOP, especially after MobiCard 2.0 launches in June. And to all our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it insightful and something to really think about. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the world around you.